Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. This episode is a breakdown analysis Q&A of the Aldo McGregor fight. Thank you everyone for the questions. We got hundreds and hundreds of questions, and I'm going to be answering the most upvoted questions and the most liked questions on YouTube. So these are your questions, these are your comments, and hopefully together we'll break this fight down and it'll make it more of an interesting fight to watch. I might have to make this a two-part or three-part episode. So if the video ends abruptly, just click on the link right on your screen and it'll take you to the continuation. I'm not sure how long of a video YouTube will let me upload. So let's go for it. Start with the first question. This question is from Thug Jitsu Master. My question is, how big of a factor do you see cardio being in the match? I think that McGregor's massive weight cut combined with the fact that he's only been the full 3 rounds once in his career means his cardio might not hold up for 5 rounds with Aldo. It would be interesting to get an expert's opinion on that. Um, will cardio be a factor for McGregor? It may be. It may be a factor if he's put in bad positions. You know, any fighter who's put in bad positions, who has to work overtime to get out of these bad positions, will get tired. Another thing that will tire a well-conditioned fighter like McGregor is taking some bad shots. You know, sometimes you take a bad shot to the body, a bad shot to the chin, and it just zaps your energy. Your nervous system is rattled. But in terms of suffering just because he wouldn't be out of shape, I don't think McGregor is gonna have a problem with doing 5 rounds. He's only done 3 rounds because he's finished his opponents, you know, and not because he was fading away and they finished him. So for me, he's a high pressure fighter. When I see a high pressure fighter like McGregor, I know for sure that in practice he doesn't fade, because guys who fade in practice don't practice high pressure, because you know, if you have a small gas tank, you're very economical, you're very scared to move forward. But when McGregor moves forward, you know, he takes the brakes off, you know, which that tells me that he has gas for days and he knows his body well and he never fades. And some guys are like that, you know, some guys are high pressure fighters and have this great gas tank, and it's really mental. It's mental because they learn to relax, and McGregor looks like a really relaxed striker to me. You know, when he gets hit, he doesn't panic, he doesn't shy away, he just rolls with the shot, keeps coming forward, sticks with his game plan, and that tells me he's got cardio for days, and he's because he's so relaxed and he's so confident in his ability to keep exchanging. I don't think cardio will be an issue for him unless Aldo puts him in a bad position, unless Aldo mounts him or gets him down in the guard, unless Aldo elbows him, knees him, etc., or catches him with a head kick or chops his leg or hits him with a good left hook, good right hand. If he doesn't stun McGregor or punish him on the ground, McGregor won't get tired. Next question. Conrad 1020. What do you think will determine the pace of the fight? Can McGregor wear out Aldo like he did Mendes? Mendes, you know, when I saw the fight with Mendes, I did think Mendes got tired, definitely, and I attributed it to the kicks to the body. You know, I think McGregor hit him with some serious kicks to the body, but also Mendes took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. Now, when you take a fight on 2 weeks' notice and you're not training, I mean, he wasn't training for a world title fight. I heard he was fishing, you know, taking it easy and stuff, and he saved that card. You know, Mendes, he's the hero of that night. I mean, McGregor won the fight, but he couldn't have had such a great night without Mendes stepping up. Mendes took a huge risk, and I think he did something really amazing, really admirable, really respectable, because taking a title fight, putting your name on the line, putting your record on the line in 2 weeks' notice for, against a guy who's up and coming, a guy who's obviously training super hard because he's in the biggest fight of his life, and you take a fight on 2 weeks' notice like that. I think Mendes did amazing for 2 weeks. I think he showed the world a lot more about McGregor's weaknesses and his strengths. You know, he gave Aldo a lot more data to work with, and Mendes did fade, but I don't think it's because, you know, it was the pressure of McGregor necessarily. I think that was part of it. I think the kicks were part of it, but also another part, to be fair to Mendes, was the kicks. Now, McGregor is a pressure fighter, and he definitely can break somebody with his pressure. His relentless forward motion, when he gets hit, he just rolls with it and keeps coming. He's very hard to back off, and that kind of fighter, if you don't know how to deal with that kind of fighter, you can find yourself tired very soon. But Aldo's not an easy guy to pressure. He's really not an easy guy to pressure. Fighters have tried to do that, and they've gotten taken down or they've gotten countered with a big strike. He's just not an easy guy to pressure because he has such a great footwork. If you look at Aldo's footwork, it's not an elaborate fancy type of footwork, but it's extremely precise, and I really believe it comes has a lot to do with his soccer background. You know, his soccer background. A lot of times when I train guys who did a lot of soccer or were elite soccer players, they always have such amazing footwork, and I really believe Aldo, his soccer background has a huge role in his success. His footwork shows it, and I think he's just not going to be an easy guy to walk down. Next question. Fedor's as Washbuckler. Let's talk about footwork and cage control. Conor is all about the pressure, and I don't think it's a coincidence that many of his finishes have come with his opponents with their back against to the fence. On the other hand, Jose is very good at maintaining distance and good enough footwork and fight IQ to prevent him from putting him in a bad position. How do you see this? Their sense of distance, forward pressure, and playing out this fight. It's kind of what I was just saying. You know, Aldo's got great footwork. You're right. His fight IQ is brilliant. I think he's fought safe in the past, which I commend him for. I don't think it's crazy. I mean, he's been undefeated for 10 years, 9 years because he's safe. He plays it safe. But in this fight, I don't think Aldo's going to play it safe. I think Aldo is going to go for the kill. Of course, he's been insulted. He's been, you know, he's been trashed by McGregor so badly that I don't think he's going to play the numbers here. I think he's going to go for it all, and he's gonna put more risk in this fight, more risk. He's not thinking about other fights. He's not thinking about his longevity of his career. He's just thinking about destroying McGregor because of all the personal issues they have between them. I believe those personal issues, I think they're genuine. I really think this fight, you know, it's between two guys who really want to just end the other's career. So I think you're right about his footwork. His footwork will be key, and McGregor will have he will have the hardest opponent he's ever fought. That's definitely for sure, and the hardest guy to pressure. Aldo is probably the hardest guy in the featherweight division to pressure. Frankie Edgar is probably the best pressure fighter in the division, and he also had some trouble pressuring Aldo. You know, it was a high-paced fight, but Aldo did a lot of great work in that fight to alleviate some of that pressure. Next question. Nob the Legend. I think McGregor's ability to counter while going forward and controlling the center of the octagon is a big game changer. How will Aldo deal with this? Well, you guys have a lot of questions about McGregor's pressure, and I think that's what everybody's mostly concerned. McGregor's an incredible pressure fighter. He has a high rate of attacks. He's an incredible reach. It's going to be a huge challenge for Aldo. I don't think Aldo's seen a super high pressure fighter like that since Frankie Edgar, and that was a very close fight. Frankie Edgar, Aldo, in my book, was a close fight. If you look at it through the point system, it was very close. McGregor's got a longer reach as well than Frankie, so this is gonna be interesting. A lot of question marks are gonna be answered in this fight, big time. Next question, CIA 3201. Do you feel like McGregor's inside of Aldo's head? Does it matter? Did this ever happen to GSP? Do you feel that McGregor's inside of Aldo's head? Yes, I do actually. When I see Aldo's reactions, I hear Aldo's comments, etc. I think McGregor is deeply inside his head. I don't think Aldo's ever been insulted like this before. I think he's always been respected. I think he's always been feared, and that's huge. You know, that's really, really big. And you know, it's something George was telling me about. You know, he says that Chael Sonnen wasn't scared of Anderson Silva, and that made all the difference, because people, when they fight Anderson Silva, they're fighting his legend, his hype, his aura, and they shut down, they hesitate. So they don't fight well. And then Chael Sonnen comes around and says, hey, this aura, this whole thing is fake, and I see right through it. And you turn the tables on the champion, kind of, you know, because the champion's not used to that. He's not used to people not acknowledging the aura around them. And this kind of creates a ripple effect where this guy's fighting differently, he's talking differently, it's something new. And, you know, we all know how Anderson handled it. You know, he didn't do well in the first fight, but the second time around, you know, he just beat Chael quite handily. How's Jose gonna deal with this rebellious fighter? You know, this guy who's outright, you know, just defying Aldo and just calling Aldo, you know, an easy fight for himself. How's Aldo gonna deal with it? We're gonna find out on Fight Night, but I do believe he did get in Aldo's head to some certain extent. But Aldo has had time, I think, to process it and kind of get over it and just buckle down and focus on the training. I think that's the key, and I think Aldo has enough years of fighting and maturity to see through all the trash talk. Skibby 101. For us, I've been studying this fight for some time now, and I find Jose Aldo versus Kenny Florian to be a good one for reference. Without too much detail, Florian really had some success from southpaw. McGregor, also being a southpaw, seems to have much more power. With the accumulation of kicks to the body, the reach advantage, McGregor keeping the dominant footwork, and his 5.44 landed strikes per minute, do you see convincing arguments that McGregor could very well win this fight in the first round? Well, maybe. I don't think this fight's going to end in the first round. It can, for sure. McGregor's got the power. He's got the speed. He's got the length. Everything you mentioned makes total sense to me. It's just not easy to put Aldo out in one round. He's very explosive in round number one. Aldo is he always has a good round one. You know, if you notice Aldo's fights, he has a good round one. He has a great round two. Round two, he just kind of figured you out. He's good at figuring people out. Aldo's tough. He's a tough customer in round number one. I could see more a KO. If Aldo would get KO'd, I think it would happen in the third, fourth, and fifth round. You know, when he's getting a little tired, a little faded. But you know, I don't put anything past McGregor. He's got such a powerful left hand. He's born with a gift. I mean, that left hand of his is something special. So I think it's possible. But Aldo's got a chin of steel, and round one and two is always Aldo. You know, his speed, his explosiveness, his intelligence. I think Aldo's gonna have. It's gonna be hard to put Aldo away in one round. Next question, Frederick1234. Are you gonna bet money on the fight for us? The odds heavily favor Conor, and I'd imagine you don't see it like that. So not betting would seem like a stupid business decision. And thanks for the AMA. You're producing interesting content and analysis. Thank you very much, Frederick. And no, I don't bet. I think betting is a really bad habit. I don't recommend it to anybody. You know, betting is it's a long-term loss. You know, you might make some money, but in the long term, the vast majority of people who gamble lose money. So I don't recommend betting. I don't really look at the odds too often, but I think the odds have to do a lot with how people are currently betting. So of course, everybody in Ireland is betting on Conor. There's a lot of hype behind Conor. There's a lot of fame, and there's a lot of talk. So people might feel his confidence, and they might just be betting his way. So I think what they do is when somebody bets a lot on the fighter, they make it more interesting to bet on the other fighter to kind of like balance out the odds. And I think that's what it is. I think it's more of a popular vote. I think this fight is 50-50. This is a tough fight to call. The styles are gonna clash like we've never seen before. These are two very unique guys fighting each other. So we haven't seen too much of this. But if you do want to see a guy with Conor style fight a guy with Aldo style, I really recommend you watch Raymond Daniels versus Nicky Holzkin. This is a phenomenal fight. Two world champions. One guy looks really like McGregor. One guy looks really like Aldo, and they just battle it out. These two fighters, they fought on Glory. If you haven't seen this fight, you must see this fight. I'll put the link in the description. It's one of the best striking fights I've ever seen. They fought twice, and both times Nicky Holzkin won. And Nicky Holzkin would be the guy who represents Aldo, who looks more like Aldo. And I think a lot of the questions were answered. You know, Raymond Daniels is very long, fast, hasn't lost a fight in I don't know how many years. Finishes his opponents in round number one. Very, very McGregor-esque. And you know, he went in Glory, knocked out a couple of guys. He had one loss in Glory because of leg kicks, and then he came back to fight Nicky Holzkin in the final of a tournament. It was a phenomenal show. Glory is probably putting on the best striking show on the planet right now. And you know, we got to see a striker, a southpaw striker, a striker like McGregor who does the spin kicks, who's got incredible length, speed, jabs, uppercuts, you know, every trick in the book. And then we have Nicky Holzkin on the other end, who's very similar to Aldo, you know, very compact, moving forward, punishing the leg kicks. And he was able to kick the inside of the leg. You know, everybody keeps asking me, can Aldo kick the inside of the leg on a southpaw? Yes, the answer is yes. A righty can chop a southpaw's leg, and a southpaw can chop a righty's leg. It is not uncommon. It is highly common. If you look at Robbie Lawler versus Pete Spratt, that's a great example of a southpaw kicking. A righty kicking the inside leg of a southpaw and just chopping that leg up. It happens on a regular basis, and it's not because a guy's a southpaw that you cannot kick the inside of that leg. I highly recommend you guys watch Raymond Daniels versus Nicky Holzkin, and I think it'll be a bit of a preview of what can happen between Aldo and McGregor. Of course, there are a lot of other factors. McGregor does a lot of different things than Raymond Daniels, and Aldo is very different in many ways as well as Nicky Holzkin, but the overall image is there, and of course it's MMA gloves. Of course there are takedowns. Of course, you know, there are different aspects. It's an octagon. It's not a ring. Lots of different details, but again, that's just the closest thing we have to what's going to happen between Aldo and McGregor. I hope that answers your question, and I really recommend you watch that fight. Next question, Sir Wagnall. Do you think Aldo is intimidated by Conor? You know, I think Aldo is has mixed feelings. You know, I think in his head he's the king, but also I think he fears. You know, he fears losing his name. I think he fears losing his win streak. You know, these are normal things every champion goes through. They have the pressure of a country behind them. They have this image they have to live up to. So having a guy like Conor just insult you and just tell you off and tell you it's the end, he's basically flashing your worst nightmare in your mind over and over again with every word you hear this guy come. You know, every time Conor opens his mouth, he's painting a picture for Jose Aldo that's his worst nightmare. And I think that's, I wouldn't say the word intimidating, but I think it's charging Aldo. Aldo's really it's fueling Aldo's fires. You know, Aldo's taking this fight extremely seriously, and he doesn't want to just win. You know, he wants to, he wants to put McGregor out. And I think McGregor, on the other end, really wants to, become the undisputed king. He wants to destroy Aldo, and I think that's what makes this fight. Why everybody in the world is going to watch this fight. Anybody who enjoys watching fights, whether you're a boxing fan or a Muay Thai fan, and you hear these two guys go and you see the passion they're putting behind this fight, you're going to tune in. So I think, you have one guy who wants to stay king and one guy who wants to be king more than the air he breathes. You have these two guys who want something so bad. It makes this interesting. It makes this fight beyond interesting. So is he intimidated? Hard to say. Only Aldo knows. Next question. Stuff in need to remember. All right. Who has a stronger mind? Who has a stronger mind? Who has a stronger mind? It's kind of hard to say as well because Aldo is an introvert. People think that McGregor is more confident because of the way he talks. It's a common misconception. Conor is an extrovert. When he's got something on his mind, when an extrovert has something on his mind, he can't help himself from telling you. It's just the way they are. They're extroverts. They have to externalize all their feelings. They have to externalize all their ideas. Whereas Aldo, when you see him face off, he's always looking away. He's introverted. He's always, he's concerned about what's going on inside. And this is something psychologists call avoidance. When two people face off or look at each other or interact and one of them turns away, it's called avoidance. And when somebody practices avoidance, it could be fear. It could be, but it's only fear if the guy runs away. But if Aldo doesn't run away, he doesn't look at his opponents, but he fights them on fight night. And he fights like a true warrior. So for me, it's not a question. It's not avoidance. It's the fact that he's an introvert. It's just his personality. It's how he's built. It's the personality that he's developed over his lifetime. And this for me is not fear. It's just a different personality. Look out in the world. You're gonna meet introverts and you're gonna meet extroverts. Some extroverts talk, and on fight night they cower. Some introverts break eye contact, avoidance, and then on fight night they cower. And then you have the opposites. You have extroverts that talk and then they back it up, and then you have introverts that shy away and they back it up. Both Conor and Aldo back it up. We won't know who has a stronger mind until both men are equally beat up, both men are equally tired, and one is still pushing and the other one wants to quit. That's the only time we'll know who has a stronger mind. Next question. Christian ranking. Do you think Jose Aldo's left hook will be the key to stopping Conor's advance? Should that be one of the focuses of his training, stopping the pressure? If so, how? Yes, definitely you have to stop McGregor's pressure. If you don't stop McGregor's pressure, I think you'll start to get tired. Backpedaling is very inefficient way of move. Aldo's got a great left hook, but I don't think it's his best punch. I think his 1-2 is his best punch. His jab, cross, his setting up the cross with the left hand is his best punch. He cuts the distance with it very well. And his scissor knee, of course, his leg kick is his best strike. In my opinion, that's the thing that if his leg kick gets going, it will be the beginning of the end. So how do you stop that pressure? Aldo needs to land that leg kick, and he needs to land it hard and often. He needs to punish the wide stance of McGregor, because when McGregor is in his wide stance, he's got the extra reach. He's accentuating his reach. And Aldo needs to take away that reach, to take away the pressure. And the way you take away that reach is you chop that leg, you chop it down like a tree. And there's ways to go about it that's beyond this video. I'd have to give you a demonstration, but Aldo is an expert in it. He's chopped down many a leg, and I think the leg kick will be a major factor in this fight, definitely. Shinka TV, keys to victory for both fighters and counters to set keys. Well, that's quite a question, but I think the leg kick's a huge factor. Okay, so let's start with the leg kick. I'll keep it really brief. McGregor's got to land the left hand. If Aldo throws that kick, he has that right kick to McGregor's lead leg. McGregor has to check or land that left. That left hand of McGregor is so powerful that it would maybe make it too risky for Aldo to kick if that left hand is always ready to counter that low kick. So is McGregor going to fire that left hand? I'm betting he's going to fire that left hand. Is Aldo going to try to chop that leg? Yes, I believe he will. If Aldo does it when McGregor's backing up, he'll be successful. If he kicks a ready set McGregor, he's risking getting caught. I don't think he will get caught every time, but he doesn't need to get caught often. McGregor has a very powerful left hand. So in my opinion, the low kick versus the left hand is going to be an interesting dynamic in this fight. Piccolo hit him with that special beam cannon. Excuse me. Hey, keep up the videos. I got a few questions. How do you think McGregor will deal with Aldo's jab, since McGregor is southpaw and also has been seen? Also, we have seen Aldo go for takedowns in the fight. Korean Zombie, Hominick. How do you think Aldo will set up takedowns on Conor, since Conor is such a big guy for 145? Also, the speed factor. Who has it? The speed factor. It's a tough one, eh? They're both super fast, but I gotta give a slight edge to McGregor. I will give a slight edge to McGregor on that. But the takedown edge is definitely with Jose Aldo, of course. And Jose Aldo has amazing takedowns. He does have amazing takedowns. If you look at his mechanics on his takedowns, if you look at his ability to get guys to the ground, he's phenomenal. You know, he's very smart in the way he does it. He's very strong. He doesn't do it often. And I like to ask myself, you know, why doesn't he do it often? I think he feels he's winning on the feet. Why should he? But I think he has that ace in the pocket. You know, he has that in his back pocket. And if he gets into a little trouble with McGregor, I think he will find it. You know, he'll find a way to bring it to the ground. But how many times can he bring it to the ground without getting tired? How hard is it going to be for him to take McGregor down? Is McGregor going to make him work? Is McGregor going to get right up after a takedown? If McGregor can get back up to his feet after a takedown, Aldo will have wasted energy, and then again he'll start to have to start stepping backwards, and then McGregor will start eating him up. So the takedown is definitely a weapon Aldo has. If he uses it wisely, which I think he does use it wisely, it'll greatly benefit him. So I don't see the takedowns backfiring on Aldo, but it is something that is possible. But I do see the takedowns allowing Aldo to score more. You know, McGregor's gonna have to be careful not to get taken down too many times, because if he loses too many rounds, he'll lose the fight. So he'll have to be very careful on which strike he throws. You know, when you do a lot of spin kicks and side kicks and jump kicks, Thai fighters grab those kicks, they catch those kicks. Now that's one majorly overlooked aspect. Muay Thai fighters are great at catching kicks. If Aldo catches a kick, he'll get a takedown. And if he gets a takedown after catching a kick, it's usually a very effortless and easy takedown. So McGregor is going to have to watch out for those takedowns. Definitely, you do not want to be on the bottom with Aldo. Francis Russell. Hi Firas, I believe that the winner will be the one that wants it most. I believe that Aldo has the speed and explosiveness advantage on Conor. Both have great timing and distance control. I think that if Aldo allows Conor to fight his fight, he will lose. I think Aldo have a better wrestling and overall dynamic game, while Conor is perhaps best at boxing range. Do you think Aldo is still hungry enough? Because otherwise Conor will shut him down. What do you think? Well, that's a pretty, it's a lot. That's a pretty good comment. I mean, there's a lot in there. Aldo's more explosive. Conor's faster. Who's got timing, distance? I don't know. It's a tough one. I think Conor's equally good in timing and distance. You know, he's a great with his timing, and his kicks are very good. You know, a lot of people think he just uses those kicks for setups. Watch his fight with Diego Brandao. He catches Diego Brandao with a spinning hook kick, and I was surprised that the commentators didn't see it. I saw it. I mean, it was fast. Diego Brandao was circling, and he was circling right into a spinning kick, and and Conor hit him so hard, so fast, so precise that then the commentators were like, "Hey, that's a slip. He stumbled." It wasn't a slip. It was a spinning hook kick that hit him right on the chin. It happened real fast, and then McGregor just pounced on him and finished him off. Watch that fight. His kicks are deadly. If they hit you on the chin, you don't need a lot of wind up. It just got to hit right on the button, and those kicks can be very dangerous. So yes, definitely, I do believe his kicks are extremely dangerous. Next question. M Zone. I believe Aldo will weather the storm early. Conor is awesome, but I believe he has huge holes in his stand-up, takedowns, defense, and jiu-jitsu off his back. I think Aldo will win by submission, TKO via leg kicks. Aldo's wrestling grappling might be the key. I agree with you. I agree with you that Aldo's wrestling and grappling might be the key. Aldo's an excellent guard passer, and his top game is phenomenal. You know, he's a world champion in jiu-jitsu at brown belt, from what I remember, and he's beaten the great Cobrinha in the past, which is, I think he's beaten Cobrinha also by submission, which tells me, you know, at one point in time he was one of the best grapplers in the world. So definitely, and couple that with his takedowns. I don't know why Aldo doesn't use the takedowns more. And I wasn't privileged to see the training camp for Aldo in this fight, but I do believe he was wise enough to work a lot of takedowns just in case he needs them. You know, you never know what can happen in a fight, and I think he may be wise if you to, you know, to take Conor down a few times and soften him up. So yeah, I do agree with you on that. And about weathering the early storm, I don't know about that. You know, I think it's gonna be highly intense. But Aldo is very good in round one, very good in round two. If Aldo gets in trouble in round one, that'll be something new. That'll be something we have never seen before, and I think it would be disastrous for him. So we'll see on Saturday night. Next question. McGregor is a master of gamesmanship and subterfuge. Oh, that's a new word for me. He has clearly spent a lot of time studying the greats on both sides outside the fight arena. Let us think back to his previous fight with Chad Mendes, where immediately before the bout, during the referee's spiel, Conor looked Chad in the eye and said to him, "Let's see who takes the first step back now." Conor went out. Conor then went on to knock the wind out of Chad with whip kicks as he stood his ground in front of him. The clever use of the word in the ear makes one think back to Zaire 74. Zaire 74, of course, is Muhammad Ali. When he did the classic rope-a-dope against George Foreman, he kept telling George, "Is this all you got? Is this all you got? You got nothing. You got nothing." And then George just worked harder and gassed himself out. And this is what Adam G is referring to. It's an excellent post here, by the way. McGregor may have a say in the matter. So is he better off fighting an aggressive, emotional Aldo compared to the strategic Aldo? That's a great point. You know, I think if Aldo fights emotionally, it's gonna backfire on him. I think you're absolutely right. I think Aldo should go in there as cold and as calculated as possible. And you're right, you know, the talking sometimes can distract fighters. It depends on your personality. I hope for Aldo that he's wise enough to put that all on the side and look through all that and just focus on the fighting, focus on the task at hand, and then you could do your talking afterwards. Then you could do your, you know, your arguing afterwards. But before that, you know, put the guy you're fighting on mute. You know, whenever his lips are moving, you just can't hear a single word he says. And I think that's the key. And let's hope Aldo's wise enough for his sake, you know, and for McGregor, you know, he's got to keep that mouth going, and because I think it's getting under Aldo's skin. I think it's a weapon. I think his words are a weapon, and I think definitely might have played a factor in his fights, definitely. Next one, Alejandro Mercutio. Do you like personally the McGregor hype? Well, you know, I think McGregor is great for the sport because, you know, people are flying in from all over the world. This is the biggest fight ever. Everybody wants to see this fight, and a lot of it has to do with you know, McGregor's personality, McGregor's interviews, the things he says, you know, the hype he brings up. I think that's great. You know, I think not all fighters need to do that. I think there are only certain fighters who are born with that gift or have that in them. And McGregor's one of those guys. You know, we need guys to sell tickets. We need guys to be famous and you know, inspire others to come and get into the sport and know what we're doing. But I think there are also lines you don't want to cross. You know, I think personal insults. You know, I don't think they belong in this level of the sport. I don't think they belong at any level of the sport. But for me, I think there's a line. There's selling tickets, and then there's crossing the line. And I'll let you guys decide if you cross the line or two. But you know, McGregor's doing his thing, you know, and like him or not, we're all watching the fight, and that has a lot to do with McGregor. So I like the business aspect. I like you know the fighters who do it naturally and do it well. Let them do it, but I think we shouldn't cross lines. You know, I think everybody should have respect at the end of the day, because fighting is a difficult thing, and these fighters merit respect. So next question. X-Manium. One question. McGregor is known for being highly skilled counterattacker. Do you expect him to have a solid answer for Aldo's low kicks? Yes, like I said before, that left hand is got to be a great answer for the low kick. I think Aldo, when he goes for the low kick, it's very hard to counter because the way he sets it up is perfect. You know, he sets it up in such a way that they're very hard to counter. So let's see what McGregor can do. I mean, McGregor, you know, I'm sure he's thought of it. I'm sure he's practiced it. I'm sure he's seen a lot of great kickers. So I'm really interested to see, because this is going to be a major, major question that needs to be answered on the fight night. Hello, Firas. This is from Mike. Mark my word. Hello, Firas. I hope all is good for you. Now for my question. Do you think that Aldo might benefit from taking a strategy like Dos Anjos used against Pettis? Would be a good idea. I've been thinking that there are some important similarities in these two matchups. I think that is very, very well said. Pettis is a great outside fighter. He has a lot of tricky movement. He has a lot of great setups for his kicks. You know, he does a lot of crazy stuff. And McGregor too is very dynamic, lots of variety. You don't know what he's gonna do. So if you put McGregor up against the fence, which is kind of very hard to imagine because I've never seen McGregor up against the fence, you know. So I think if you put him there, you take away a lot of his surprise attacks, which I think though is gonna be a highly difficult thing to do because he's such a intelligent fighter and he's very difficult to back up. To back up to the extent that you put him up against the fence, we've never seen him up against the fence. Have you ever seen him up against the fence? Not even close. So tough call, but if he can, if Aldo can, I think it would be a sign of the end. It would be a sign of the beginning of the end if you see McGregor up against the fence. Because McGregor, the only reason McGregor would go up against the fence, you know, is back to the fence, is because all other options are gone, which would surprise me. You know, if he ran out of options, it was so bad that he had to back up to the fence. I think it would be a horrible sign for McGregor. Next question, guys. We're getting to the end of this, so let's see if I can squeeze in a couple more. Josh Kim. GSP compares his fight to Silva versus Sonnen. Do you agree? Is McGregor different from the rest of Aldo's opponents? Is that he's unfazed and unintimidated coming into this fight? Also, who do you think would be more successful in the 155 division? Well, like I said before, yes, GSP is very right about that. I agree with him. When Sonnen fought Silva, he said, hey, Silva, all your mystique, all your hype is BS. I'm coming at you. I don't see that. I don't believe in it. And McGregor's doing the same thing to Aldo. It's a slap in the face. You know, you start to believe in your own aura usually. You know, and I'm generalizing here, of course, but this is something champions have to be very wary of. Don't believe your own hype. You know, when you believe your own hype, you start to forget the realities of what fighting are. You know, you start getting into this fantasy world, and then one guy comes in your life and slaps you out of it. You don't want to come out of this fantasy world. It's such a beautiful place, such a comfortable place where you're stroking your ego, and then this guy comes and defies you. But you know, McGregor might be doing the greatest favor to Aldo. He might be getting Aldo more ready than he's ever been. And I believe Aldo's a hardcore guy. You know, he comes from the favelas. You know, he comes from the toughest part of one of the toughest parts in the world. You know, so I think he's bringing Aldo back to his roots. I think all the talking is gonna make Aldo stronger. I think Sonnen really weakened Silva with his talk, but I think Aldo's gonna have a different response. I think Aldo's gonna have a very different response, and I think the trash talking towards Aldo, it's gonna power him, you know, empower him. And you know, whenever guys talk trash to GSP, it always just made us trade more. It always just pushed us more. We got more ready. We got more focused. And some people might focus on the insults and their hurt feelings or whatnot. And some guys will just use that as fuel to go and push themselves even further. And I think Aldo's one of those guys. You know, he's an introvert. He's not going to talk about his feelings. He's going to go in the gym and he's going to make himself feel better by doing overtime, you know, putting in overtime. And I think Aldo is one of those guys you don't insult. But let's see on fight night. You know, if he fights better than ever, it's because he used those insults as fuel, okay? And if he hesitates and all that, it might be because he's so shocked that this guy doesn't believe in his aura. Next question, guys. This may be the last one. Okay. TC4CFC. What would be the best game plan for Jose to win that doesn't involve taking Conor down, in your opinion? He's got to chop that leg. He's got to corner Aldo. He's got to have a good answer to the spinning attacks of Conor. When Conor spins, when Conor teeps to the body, when he does these kicks, if you do not have a good answer to these kicks, if your only answer is to move back, you're dead. I think Jose should catch those kicks, circle in the same direction of those kicks, do the appropriate counters to those kicks. Do not let those kicks get going. If those kicks get going, that big left is coming right behind it sooner or later. He's gonna trick you into tasting that left hand over and over again. You cannot let him fake you out with his kicks. You cannot let him kick without being punished. When somebody kicks you and you don't punish them, they're gonna just keep kicking and setting up their strikes. I think Aldo would be wise to, clinch, grab a kick, counter the kick, block the kick, circle with the kick. There's so many ways to answer a kick. Pick one or two that you're comfortable with, drill them till the end, and make sure when he comes to kick you, you have a beautiful answer. You punish them for kicking. That is my opinion. I will do one more question, guys. Let's see what it is. Syringe Sam. Who's the better boxer in your opinion? Also, who does Aldo stay away from? Also, how does Aldo stay away from the straight left? I think these are two of the best strikers in the sport, and we're in for a treat. Absolutely agree. These are the two best. These are these are two of the best strikers in our sport. Absolutely. Who has the better boxing in your opinion? I would have to say pure boxer. I would have to say Conor McGregor. I see Aldo more as a Thai fighter, and he's a complete Thai fighter. He's excellent in his Muay Thai skills, and Thai fighting is not boxing. They have different mechanics. They don't duck as much. They don't lean as much. I think in pure boxing, we see Conor shifting. We see him leaning. We see him doing a lot of classic boxing techniques, and I think in a street boxing fight he would have an advantage because he's so boxing oriented, whereas Aldo is a Muay Thai fighter. So if we were doing a straight Muay Thai fight, Muay Thai rules, I would think Aldo would have the advantage, and in a straight boxing match I would give the advantage to Conor McGregor. So I'm gonna do one more, guys, and give you a little bonus here. How big of a factor do you think Aldo's leg kicks will be? Okay, we did that one already. It is the sole biggest factor in this fight. If he gets the leg kicks, he will weaken McGregor badly. He will weaken McGregor's style to its core. He will get takedowns easily. He will back up McGregor, and he will counter McGregor quite easily if he gets the leg kicks. Now, is McGregor smart enough to be ready for it? Absolutely. He's a very cerebral fighter. Like him or not, whatever it is, whatever kind of, if he rubs you the wrong way or whatever, look at the facts. He's a great striker. He's a phenomenal striker. He's a very intelligent striker. And I think he's figured out, I think he has a trick up his sleeve to defend against Aldo's kicks. I don't think he's going in there thinking that he's just going to let Aldo kick his leg. Obviously not. But how good is his counter? How is he going to prevent it? That's what we're going to find out on Fight Night. That's why I want to tune in. And I want to see what's going to happen with those leg kicks. Because if those leg kicks get going, it'll be bad for McGregor. If McGregor can counter those leg kicks, it will be very bad for Aldo. So for me, in my opinion, this is a great question to end on. The leg kick is huge. If the leg kick gets going, it'll be all Aldo all night long. If it doesn't, the next card he's going to have to play is those takedowns. He's going to have to get those takedowns if he can't get those leg kicks going. And I think the takedowns are going to be a huge factor. I think Aldo's takedowns are amazing. And I think if I was his coach, I would make sure he knows his takedowns are amazing, because that will open up his striking. Not to avoid the striking, of course not. But if McGregor has to worry about the striking and the takedowns, it's going to be hard to defend a lot of those strikes. Whereas Aldo just has to worry about the strikes. I don't think McGregor is going to shoot on Aldo. Taking Aldo down would be a waste of energy, because Aldo will get up. Even the most elite wrestlers cannot hold him down. So McGregor is going to have to worry about two things, where Aldo's just going to have to worry about the striking. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and comment. I want to thank Quest Nutrition for making this video possible. And I'll see you guys at the fights. I will be there if you are there. I look forward to watching the fights live with everyone, and this will be probably the greatest, most hyped fight in featherweight history for a long time. So make sure not to miss it and enjoy it, and I will see you there if you're at the show. Thank you.